The Big Picture, a Christian insight on the world of film, television and popular culture with magazine editor Ben McEachen and scriptwriter Mark Hadley. 3D glasses on, amps to 11, screens to maximum. Get ready for The Big Picture.
Well, listen, one of the nominations for an Academy Award this year is a particular film that many people may not have heard of. Milestones are important to us, that sense of achieving, coming from doing something of substance. 45 Years is a film that hinges on a huge milestone, a couple celebrating 45 years of marriage. But this British drama isn't a celebration. Our second Now Showing segment for this special Oscar show presents the turmoil of a milestone not being built on what it should be, and how crucial honesty is to any long-term relationship.
It's a shame not to have more photos around the house. I guess we didn't see the point of taking pictures of ourselves. It's a shame.
Come on.
What are you doing?
Come on.
I'm not prancing around in the living room at this time of night.
And this really is a great venue for an anniversary. So full of history, you see? Like a good marriage.
What is it?
They found her. You know who I'm talking about, don't you?
Kate and Jeff, Mark, are the lead characters in 45 Years, played by Charlotte Rampling, who's been nominated for an Academy Award for this film, and Jeff, Tom Courtenay. And as you said in the intro, and as the title strongly suggests, they've been married for 45 years. And the film is set over the course of a week that's leading into their anniversary party for being married 45 years. They live in a small village in England. Something that happens on the Monday of that week, though, is some really quite devastating news shows up out of the blue that has an enormous effect, particularly on Kate, but also on Jeff as well. And on
obviously, it goes to the heart of their marriage.
On there, wow, yeah, it really does. I don't think I'm going to say exactly what it is. It helps because more and more is revealed as the course of the film goes along. But this is really quite something of a powerful drama to go and check out at cinemas at the moment.
Well, look, there's a lot to be said about Oscar week. Why are we talking about 45 years? I mean, it's not exactly one of the contenders for best film.
No, it isn't. And really, Charlotte Rampling's Oscar nomination is pretty much the highest profile that this film is going to receive. But like other years in the Oscars, when you're heading into the ceremony itself, there's a lot of attention placed around the bigger films, and particularly those that get heaps of nominations, such as The Revenant that we talked about earlier in the show. But then there are often small films that get a nomination, usually quite deservedly, because if they're a small film, they don't tend to get a lot of attention with the Academy voters or with the public or even with critics necessarily. They can almost drift by and get unnoticed, even though they're a great film. And 45 Years is one of those small films, a little bit like Room this year at the Oscars as well, and a little bit like Spotlight, even though Spotlight's got slightly higher profile, but they're smaller, compacted dramas that the Academy from time to time gives a bit of attention to. I thought it would be great then to talk about 45 Years, because among the main contenders in the Best Actor, Actress categories, this might be one of those films where people just go, what? Didn't even know that was at cinemas, let alone that this film existed.
Well, that's one of the best things about the Academy. I mean, my wife and I, when we watch the Academy Awards, we literally sit down with a piece of paper and a pencil and write down the must-sees. Like, I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
Do that.
I think 45 Years is definitely up there for that.
Okay, so Charlotte Rampling's the focus. What's it like being part of her life?
Yeah, as being involved with her as Kate in this film, it's quite a demanding journey, really. It's not, you get a lot of glimpses of the positive side of their marriage and why this couple has been together for 45 years. It is fantastic that we're watching a drama about this subject. My wife Amy and I watched this. We've been married for a couple of years. We couldn't think of another movie that looked at an older couple, let alone one that had been married for so long, let alone one that attempts to demonstrate the positive parts of it and yet contrast it with the negative. So what it's like being part of Kate's life at this particular point, it seems like you're experiencing her life in the worst week, entirely the worst week. Charlotte Rampling is fantastic at carrying the weight of a woman who discovers that possibly her life is built on a lie. And that's like devastating news. If you got that at any point in your life, you'd be devastated, let alone being able to witness that in somebody else. So Charlotte Rampling does the emotional highs and lows. She's a great, dignified actress. She's almost like the lesser known version of Helen Mirren. I think Charlotte Rampling, she's been around since forever, early 60s. Her first film was A Hard Day's Night, the Beatles film. She's been around since then. Does a tremendous job as a woman carrying the weight on her shoulders of thinking that possibly her marriage just is a bit of a sham.
So, what's the tipping point morally for the film? What's like you're talking about truth and you're talking about the potential of lies to tip things over. Is there a moral point in which it really the whole film hinges?
Yeah, there's probably a few of them actually. Like definitely there's this catalyst right at the start that does involve her husband, and concealment is probably a good word to describe what's going on. Tom Courtenay is quite strong in this film. He's a little bit hard to understand at times. He almost mumbles a bit of his way through. In contrast, though, with Charlotte Rampling, she gets the lion's share of what's going on here. And so the tipping points in the drama are often when she discovers more about what's happened in the past and then how this could potentially affect your life now. And it caused Amy and I to have a actually great discussion about our own marriage. And I'm a person who can struggle sometimes to give all the information that I probably should. I'm not necessarily trying to lie. I'm trying to filter, and I think I'm protecting Amy from things, but often she wants to know the full story. And 45 years is a fantastic demonstration of, and some of the things I'm talking about in my own life aren't as nearly as great as what goes on in this film. But it reminds you that truth and honesty are integral to any strong relationship. There's no wonder that God and his son Jesus go on so much about honesty, and Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life, for goodness sake. Like, there's a big fundamental reason why being open and honest in communication, particularly in intimate relationships, is called for. 45 years is a very powerful reminder of that. If from the negative, which is when this comes to light, if it does come to light, it can have enormous devastating effects, particularly on what you thought your relationship was. And in Tom Courtenay, in Jeff's defense in the film, I don't think he's a terrible guy, and I think he does actually love his wife. But by the end of the film, there's this devastating scene where you see Charlotte Rampling wrestling with everything that she's gone through in the film as Kate, and she is still at this precipice of, I don't know whether it was all a sham or not. I think it's that lack of integrity and the ability to not know for certain would suggest why you should go towards certainty and truth and honesty from the kickoff.
Wow, and the opposite just honeycombs everything, doesn't it? Wow,
yeah.
That's amazing. Okay, well, look, 45 years start Charlotte Rampling and Tom Courtenay, now showing mainly at smaller cinema chains, though, so you'll have to search around for a bit. It's rated M for coarse language and a sex scene. Yes, older people still have sex, so that might be the most disturbing thing in it.
Yeah, it's they don't show too much, but it's definitely in the movie. A big supporter of our show, Mark, is Insights magazine and website. Go to insights.uca.org.au and check out their reviews of all the various Oscar-nominated films. The Revenant, Big Short, Room, Steve Jobs is all across Insights right now. Check it out.
The Big Picture is a Bible Society Australia production and part of Hope 1032's family of podcasts and vodcasts.